Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Johnny Lively for our Wednesday morning show, sponsored by HB Neal Construction. It seems like we've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. You look at the Tamco Live Doppler radar, there are some very tiny, isolated little quick showers moving through. This is what we call a little pop-up or a little popcorn showers. This is not going to do enough to disrupt anything, and it's going to be another hot and mostly dry day today, and you can see that's really kind of already shaping up. We zoom out of the radar, you can see that it's pretty quiet across the state of Texas, Louisiana, and really just the deep south in general. The northern plains is where all the showers and thunderstorms are, and parts of the east coast as well too. But you can see the deep south is pretty quiet, but a lot of that's going to be changing as we get into the weekend. There's a cold front that's bringing all that severe weather into the central and northern plains once again later this afternoon. They have been very active. But if we zoom into our region, that orange and the gold, that burnt orange kind of looking, that is mid to upper levels that are very dry. The low levels are humid, but the mid to upper levels are very dry. So if you go outside, you look, you'll see clouds really on the low levels, but you look higher up, mid to upper levels, very dry, no clouds going on. So that's one of the big reasons that even though the moisture is here, high pressure is keeping the mid to upper levels dry. That's why we're not very active in the rain department. Thanks to all that low level moisture here, it is warm, muggy, sticky, and humid. Neutron Electrical Services showing us the current temperatures pretty much already at the 80-degree mark in parts of the region. Majority of us are pretty much into the middle to upper 70s, with several of us already at that 80-degree mark. Thanks again to our sponsor of Neutron Electrical Services, just rubbing it in that it is a warm June morning. For our outdoor and construction forecast for today, very similar to what we've seen last couple of days. It's pretty nice. It's just very hot, and it's going to be, main thing is the heat index getting around to 100 to 105 degrees, so definitely stay hydrated and take breaks when you can. Your only relief from the heat is this 10 to 20% coverage for a quick little shower or a very isolated storm. But other than that, it is mostly dry. Thanks to our sponsor of Modern Concrete Material, letting us know what's going on this Wednesday. And if you really look at the rest of the week and even into Saturday, looks very similar to this construction and outdoor forecast. We have just now seen the National Hurricane Center. We've been talking about this moisture that's going to be moving into the Bay of Campeche and into the southern Gulf the end of the week and into the weekend. Christina is going to move into Central America. We put that track on here in just a second. You can see that this is going to move in. It's a tropical storm now, but it won't last long because once it goes into Central America, it's not going to really do much of anything. But this is going to bring lots of deep tropical moisture. High pressure ridge is in our region right now. This is going to keep us mostly dry and mostly hot the rest of the week and even through Saturday. Just 10 to 20% coverage for an isolated shower or storm. That's about it. But let's zoom out because, again, Tropical Storm Christina on the Pacific side is going to bring another large surge of deep tropical moisture into the Bay of Campeche and the southern Gulf. Into the week and into the weekend, only a 10% chance for tropical development, but none of that matters. It does not matter about the potential for tropical development. It's all the same forecast. Locally heavy rain moving into Mexico and South Texas the end of the week, especially this weekend. And then let's start zooming into our region because this deep tropical moisture, and look towards the north, this deep tropical moisture is going to be meeting up with this weak frontal boundary. Now, I'm not 100% certain if this frontal boundary is going to go all the way down towards the coast, but the fact that this will be moving into the state of Texas and approaching our region, this front with deep tropical moisture combined together, it's science 101. This is going to give us the potential for some, I would say, scattered rain Sunday into early to middle of next week with the potential for some locally heavy rain. And again, even parts of central Texas, San Antonio, Austin, I would continue to keep watching this because this front and this deep tropical moisture surging in together, combined together, can make for a pretty active forecast for parts of the deep south or really the Lone Star State. So we will keep an eye on this, especially for the areas out there in central Texas. Flash flooding can be a concern. For us here locally, we just see the potential for some locally heavy rainfall. Rain chances definitely increase. And you see that lots of moisture pushing and pumping into our region Sunday, Monday, possibly even Tuesday of next week. So let's be looking at the rainfall outlook sponsored by Do Good Credit Union. We're at the isolated stage right now. It's pretty hard to come by the rain, low coverage, but once we get into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, deeper moisture moving in, the same time the weak frontal boundary is kind of coming in. It's going to give us a little bit more of an unsettled weather pattern. Thanks for our sponsor once again, Do Good Credit Union. But if we look at Switch Electric, kind of showing us what's going on today, again, it's going to be hot, mostly dry. Your only relief from the heat is going to be this small coverage of rain. I don't even think we get to 20%, but we're at 10 to 20% coverage for Houston, Beaumont, Belmont, Jasper, and even southwest Louisiana. The heat of the day and this moisture combined, you can still see that you get the chance for these pop-up showers or maybe even a pop-up storm. But other than that, we are mostly dry. And then later this evening, once we start losing the heat, we start losing any chance of any isolated storm. It's going to be a quiet, muggy night. There's no doubt about it. One thing we've been talking about is that weak frontal boundary. No big difference on the temperature outlook for us. We're going to stay more on the warmer side like we would see in June. But look at that. I mean, really below average temperatures far towards the north and even into the central plains. But that front combined with the moisture means that we are going to have above average chances for rain early to middle of next week, probably even lingering longer depending on how long this moisture does kind of hang around into our region. So right now, we're in somewhat of a drier pattern. We're not rain-free, but we're in a drier pattern. And then next week, we get back into a more unsettled and more of a wet pattern. This afternoon, not a wet pattern. It's definitely dry. Temperatures mostly into the 90s, down towards the coast is into the middle to upper 80s. Still, we're all warm, muggy, and humid. 10 to 20% coverage for a quick little shower, possibly a storm, sponsored by Seals Before. Get you one. But the main thing is the heat index. 100 degrees to 101 up to 105 in some spots. So definitely stay hydrated, stay cool as much as possible. Thanks again to our sponsor of Switch Electric, kind of showing us the heat index is definitely here. And then overnight tonight, it's going to be muggy. I mean, middle to upper 70s and low 80s, pretty much all across the board. Air conditioners working overtime, as I always say. Thanks to our sponsor of Seals Before. Get you one. And then our 7-day forecast for Southeast Texas, pretty much isolated now until Saturday, mostly dry and hot. Heat index getting into the triple digits. And then Sunday into Tuesday, deeper moisture moving into our region. The same time a front will be approaching our area. All of this combined together is what the science books tell us. It's going to get more unsettled and more active once we get into Sunday, especially early to middle of next week. Pretty much the same forecast for southwest Louisiana. We are isolated now until at least Saturday, and then we start picking up that rain coverage Sunday and into Tuesday. More moisture and just a lot more kind of coming together to give us a more active pattern. Thank you all for tuning in to the Wednesday morning show. If you have not yet, please go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app. There's not much going on right now the next couple of days, but once we get into the weekend, things do start picking up. And the fact that we are kind of watching the tropics, even though I don't expect this to do much of anything, this is not going to develop. Regardless, it is going to bring rain into Mexico, South Texas, and then once we get into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, this does bring rain to parts of our region and even parts of Central Texas. So this is a wonderful time to go download the free Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app to keep you guys updated. Thank you all for tuning in to the Wednesday morning show. I won't see you again until Thursday morning, but me and Lucas will continue having updates throughout the day today on Facebook, YouTube, and on our free app. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everybody. Stay cool.
Gulf Coast Weather Solutions is sponsored by
At Gulf Coast Weather Solutions, we focus on delivering reliable weather forecasts. Our new app provides reliable weather updates and alerts no matter where you are. With real-time weather alerts and warnings, you can stay informed and prepared wherever you go. Download the Gulf Coast Weather Solutions app today on the App Store and Google Play and stay connected no matter where you are.